welcome to another Biddle. How are we all this evening?
Excellent.
Excellent. Thank you.
Fantastic.
Doing good.
Nice.
Somewhat sad, but yeah,
Someone sad?
You know what?
Why are you sad, Big Pod?
because I destroyed my Linux system or Linux OS apparently, and I didn't even know it up until like half hour ago. So yeah,
Well,
That
that's
honestly sounds like something I would do.
yeah. Or something
We've
I
all
would
done
do.
that.
It's something
Yeah.
I would do.
I've done it before.
Was it Arch?
No, it was Ubuntu.
So it doesn't look like we went live.
No, I don't see it anywhere. There's not
Okay,
even.
So
I
I do
can
see
see
it.
it in YouTube.
I
Oh, you
see
can?
it.
Excellent. All
Yeah.
right.
I can't.
Share us the link if you can, Eris. Pass it around. That would be excellent.
Here you go.
It just wasn't linked to the live link.
That's
Yeah.
fine.
And
We'll go
I
with
can
that.
I can hear the sound, so it's okay.
Oh,
I was
most
confused.
excellent.
I was confused for a moment.
We're alive.
I do need to fix the chat, so give me a minute. Yeah, you guys carry on. Big Pod,
You broke your system.
you broke
Keep
your
going,
system.
Big Pod. Tell us how you did it. Because this takes talent. When you really bork a machine up, we want to hear about how you did it.
You can do it in
Problem
2
is,
seconds.
problem is, I don't know. That's the big problem.
Even better.
That's the best kind.
Amazing.
Yeah, I know.
Now, like,
I-
you can totally just destroy your system by typing in like 10 characters into the terminal.
I booted up my system. I was on the Windows whole day because I was working on a school project. So I booted up in Linux. First, I had a black screen and just HP logo in the middle. So, okay, maybe something went wrong. I rebooted. And then I got kernel panic. And I was like, yay! Something broke.
Congratulations.
Oof, that's
Yeah.
really bad. Kernel Panic's
What were you
bad.
doing with it
Yeah.
the last time you used it?
I
Before this-
believe I was recording a video and I was doing an update. So maybe update was the fault. That's probably
That
the
probably did it.
biggest. Yeah, even though I did update after it, so I mean rebooted after it. So at the time it did boot. So maybe something just decided I'm gonna break after reboot.
That could be.
That's unfortunate.
It's my system, so everything is possible.
As long as you have an alternative machine to use, you're fine.
I have a dual boot with Windows, so
Okay.
I'm fine.
Yeah, so apparently the date on the YouTube channel is wrong, and I don't have the stuff to fix that. So we'll just go without worrying too much. Whatevs.
It is
Welcome
what
to
it is.
YouTube. Welcome
Yep.
to
It's all
YouTube.
good.
So has anybody else got anything else happening this week?
Mic check. Hello.
Oh, you're there.
Hello.
Computer kid.
After last week's conversation about distro hopping and perfect distros, I sat down and spent quite a bit of time going through various things that I liked, didn't like, to try and help me to find a distro that I might stick on for a week. I did, and I have been on the same distro since last Sunday.
Nice.
I ended up on KDE Plasma through Manjaro.
Nice.
So the conversation that I had and the people that enjoyed that conversation and helped me to sort it out, basically. So I just wanted to say thanks to those that sort of at least a week without distro hopping is a pleasant change.
Yeah, that sure is. That's nice when you find the thing that works for you.
Yeah. it's-
Otherwise, I was thinking of a solution for you. Just make your own distro, then you will stay on it.
That's the perfect solution, but I lack the skills to do that. Otherwise, trust me, I probably would have done that if I had the skills.
Well,
Well,
it
there's a
isn't that
book,
hard.
isn't it? Linux from scratch.
Yeah.
And they're basically scripts out there. Manjaro had a set of them, and Arco had a set of them, and I believe even Ubuntu isn't that hard to make into your personal distro.
I have enough trouble trying to settle on a distro without trying to make my own one and then tearing my hair out because certain things don't work properly in that, and I have no idea how to fix them. So I'll stick with the already done ones, and hopefully Manjaro's KDE at the moment is doing well.
Have any of you guys ever tried the full-on Linux from scratch, like where you actually bootstrap the compiler and all the way from the ground up?
I plan to at some point, but I seem like I'm one of the few people that plans to try to do that.
I
Yeah,
think I went for a few hours, then I just said, I don't want to deal with this. I'm gonna make my own distro from Manjaro, and I deleted that VM and started working on Manjaro distro, which I ran for probably a couple of months.
I did it years ago when LFS was first a thing, and it's quite an experience. It took days. Of course, that was in the days of 28.8 dial-up modems too. So, but it was quite the experience.
The problem I had with it was you'd end up with library files all over the place, and you'd end up with 2 or 3 different copies of each .so file, and it ended up a huge mess, and you wouldn't know which one the system was using, and so yeah, you have to update it in all these different places. It seems more fun than it actually is once you try to maintain it.
Yeah. Well,
Why
package
we
management
use
is the
predefined distros.
yeah, but package management is one of the things that you have to add on because it doesn't come with that, right? So, yeah, that's where it's just
Because
nice.
you add zipper.
You
wonder.
can add anything because it's from scratch.
Oh, that's
So,
true. Yeah.
Yeah, but you do have to add something.
But then you're basically using you're basically turning your distro into, to a certain extent, whatever package manager and repo you hook yourself up to. And at that point, unless you're going to actually build your own repo and your own packages, which would be a monumental undertaking, you're probably better off just installing the distro that you're using the package manager and repos of.
Actually, that might be kind of fun actually when you think about it. As a like a test case. You pull all the stuff down, build it from source. You build your own open build service and your own open QA. I mean, sure, it'd take you probably 3 years to do it, but you could do it.
Well, I mean, you look at how
You can
long.
do anything in enough time.
Challenge accepted.
That would take a long time.
30
A lot of
would take
nerves,
me
and
30 years
probably
to do
everything
that.
would start being
Better
bad
things to do with my time.
after you started.
Yeah, you're better off. I mean, obviously, we've all settled on something that's a little easier than that for the most part. So you're kind of better off there probably. If you want to get a little more hardcore, you could probably go like Gentoo or even Slackware, where you're kind of building the packages, so it's a little more hands-on. But
Or what about Arco, because he's got the different levels. That I think would probably be the best choice.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, add the things you want for sure.
I'm sorry, but I do enough of that for other people already, so I don't think I want to do it for my own system.
No, but it's a good learning experience for those that do want to learn. I think those things all have value.
It is, and I want to do it at some point as just a learning experience. Like I installed Arch at one point, vanilla, manually, as a learning experience, and I think I want to do LFS at some point as a learning experience, but right now it's a hard pass.
Yeah, and I don't think I'm actually going to maintain it. I'm mainly doing it just to see, what I can learn from the experience, but I'll probably do it here at some point.
Cool. All right. Anybody else got anything else? I noticed Colin slip in the door there. What's new with you?
Yeah, I was just video editing and I realized the time got away from me. It's just amazing. It's just like a time warp when you're video editing, to be honest.
Well, that's cool. All right. Well, I can't wait for the next one. I mean, I don't know what it is, but sounds good. I know you've.
What are you editing?
Well, no, my next one will be Linux FX, but I'm editing Enzo OS at the moment. So.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I'm doing 2 at the moment. So a little bit. I was focused on the whole thing, and then my phone gave me the notification that Big Daddy Linux is starting, and then I tried to log in the wrong Zoom.
Yeah,
I'm here.
well, we had to mix it up on you, keep you on your toes.
Oh, I know. Rocco disappeared on us this week, didn't he?
He did. It's all right. We got this.
We got it.
Things we're doing wise. I'm going on vacation tomorrow.
Cool.
Oh, you need a vacation?
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah,
you're a
of
kid.
course.
Where are you going? Home?
No. An island.
Nice.
Jekyll Island. Have you heard of it?
Oh. Very
Cool. I never heard of it. So, like, are you going to be Mr. Hyde on Jekyll Island?
No.
I love it.
So, are my volumes good?
Yeah, you're good.
Okay, sounds good. I've also implemented a system-wide mute because I was tired of flipping back to Zoom to Alt-A. So now I just have one of my numpad keys mapped to muting myself like this.
That sounds good. Yeah, sounds perfect.
Cool. Oh, well done. Let's see.
Sorry, Dan. What were we talking about when I came in? I sort of just missed it. Was that an email or something?
No, we hadn't gotten very far, and Big Pod was,
okay, all right.
Big Pod was telling us about
compiling your own distro.
Yep.
Oh, okay. Something I'll probably never do, so that's all right.
Me neither, so I'm not alone.
So Big Pod
There are a
blew
lot
up
of
his
people in
system.
that camp.
Yeah, Big Pod blew up his system. Tony found peace, and he found his maybe forever distro. Not sure, but
what's that, Tony?
Well, he said he hasn't hopped in a week, which is really good. So
I'm on Manjaro
By the end
KDE.
Of the the stream, we'll see if he's still running. What is it?
Yeah,
What are you running,
Manjaro
Manjaro?
KDE. Yeah, I mean,
How long if he's still running it by the end of tonight?
Yeah, Tony,
Good call, yeah.
I won't hop while we're on the live stream. You can rest assured of that.
Oh, okay.
Fedora official is coming out. All the Ubuntu are coming out. So Tony, you have plenty of temptation coming up in the next couple of weeks.
I know, that's what worries me.
So Ubuntu Cinnamon Remix and Ubuntu Unity Remix already have their release candidates out. Technically, all the other official Ubuntu products should already have their release candidates out, but sometimes they push it a few more days.
We got some changes that are probably coming.
Yeah, so definitely now's the time to be testing some ISOs if you have bare metal, or if you just want to hop around or destroy your system even more if you wanted to.
Yeah, absolutely.
So,
more testing, more better. Jinder, you got your hand up. What's up?
Uh,
Oh, okay then.
Kind of froze up.
I think so.
I have something I can share until he comes back.
Sure, go ahead.
So I'm working on my version 2, if you want to call it, of my Linux powered festive lights or Christmas lights. I'm getting ready for Christmas.
Yep.
So last year I put up about a little over 1,000 programmable lights around the house. So I spent a little bit of money. Built a controller box using a BeagleBone, and I put a cape on it, wired it all together and all that stuff. So this year I'm adding another power supply, 2 more power supplies. I'll be adding about 2,000 more programmable lights that I have to specifically address this year. So I'm bit by bit getting the parts I need, waiting for my props to come in. Right now I've got kind of a Halloween theme going. I put I think something in the Telegram, just like a video of it. But so it's all purple and orange right now. That I wired. I got this little plastic pumpkin, like a jack-o'-lantern looking thing, and it had one of those little LEDs, runs on a couple of AAAs. You flick a switch and then it kind of glows. So I had to take and put my lights inside that, so I actually have a flame effect inside of it and everything.
Nice.
So it's kind of fun.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
I think that'll look dope. Actually.
Oh yes, it is.
I still don't know how to apply that word. So
it's a good thing.
Dope.
I'm just learning. I'm just learning. So I'm just using it when I can. If I ever get to America, I want to go visit Nate and his museum of computers and his lights on his home.
You're more than welcome. And if you tell me ahead of time, I'll even I'll smoke a turkey or maybe some ham or something for you. We can have a good time.
Nice.
But yeah, no, so I'm pretty excited. I did a couple of to music displays last year, and I put them on YouTube. I'm working on. So I'll be reprising the 2 I did last year because I like those songs, and I don't care if people think that's boring to reprise something, but I'm going to, because it's my house. I do what I want, and I'll be adding two more songs to it. So, but I have a little more work to do this time because there's 2,000 more lights, so it'll be fun.
Cool. Well, sounds good.
It's all Linux, all open source.
That's the best part.
Not a bit of proprietary
right
anything. Yeah.
Yeah.
Which makes it fun. If it wasn't, it wouldn't be as much fun.
Yeah, you can't tinker on it that way. Yeah.
Right.
Cool. Well, Jinda, you made it back, and you don't seem to be frozen. But you don't have any audio now. Uh-oh. Oh, well. We'll get back to you. Donna, you got your hand up. Go ahead.
Actually, I was watching a video this week on
Anything now?
Q4 OS. Oh,
No?
Yep, hang on.
we can hear you.
Thank you.
So I was watching a video on Q4 OS, and an exe file on Windows that installed Q4 OS alongside Windows was very, very interesting, I thought. I know Ubuntu had something like that back in the days, and they stopped it. I wish every project had it. I thought it was very cool. We always talk about like new user experience, and I think personally for new users, the hardest part is putting an ISO on a USB. To us, it seems like so easy because we're always distro hopping and putting new distros in USB and just putting up a new distro. But I think it's not as simple as people think. So having that exe was very interesting to see.
Yeah.
Actually, I'm going to comment on that real quick. When I started on Linux, I had an issue with the hard drive that the computer that had Linux installed came on. So I had to replace it. I didn't know how to make a bootable USB, so I took the ISO and just put it on the new hard drive and thought that would boot. And I did the same thing with a USB drive and thought that would boot. So there needs to be much better, much easier to find documentation, and we need to figure out how to make it easy to find, because I didn't know what wording to use or anything like that. Now that I do, it's literally a single Google search away, but not everybody knows how to do this.
Right.
And it can be very confusing.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, it's a barrier to entry. And you got tools like Ventoy, which once you get the USB built, you can just drag the ISO like you talked about, and that lets you boot from any of those ISOs. So that's kind of nice. So I think there are some tools that are coming that seem promising, but yeah, it's a bit of a barrier. I can see that. When we tested Q4 OS, it was kind of like everybody had a pretty decent time, honestly.
Yeah, I mean the distro is pretty good, but the feature of installing it along Windows just using an exe file, I thought that was neat.
It is pretty neat. I know, Ubuntu used to have that with the Ubi or Woobi, and that's obviously long. I'm dating myself there. That's
Right.
long since gone, right?
Yeah, I wish they still have it.
Yep. Jinda, back to you.
It keeps locking up for some reason. I don't know if it's me or Zoom or what, but we can give it a shot again.
Sure, go ahead.
My computer died a couple months ago, and I decided to see what would happen if I plugged in my old Windows install. And thank God I run Linux. That it was a nightmare. I'm sorry, guys. I don't mean to complain and be negative about Windows, but just to uninstall something, it wasn't there in the add remove, and then you have to go to the, there's like 6 different ways to uninstall something, and they're all different, and they don't all work for each other, and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And what was it? The swap file grew to 32 gigs of RAM and filled the entire hard drive, and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera.
That sounds bad. Yeah.
I built a plugin.
That's how Windows is. I mean, you look up the minimum install, but they don't tell you all this other stuff that goes with it, like
Right.
you know, the swap and the what is it, the hibernation and all those other things. And I just, you know, thank God we all run Linux. I can understand why we use it, and we should praise it way more than we ever have after playing with that nightmare. Sorry.
Yeah, no, simple is good, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Just the fact that they decided to go for what would the user like more than rather the overall stability. So even when I fresh installed Windows 10 on my laptop again, when I reset it, because I wanted to do other stuff on it, because you can't do everything on Linux sometimes, thanks to lazy developers, it was still a bit slow. I'll be 100% honest. It was a bit faster, but compared to Linux on a freshly installed Linux system, it was definitely more slower.
Oh yeah, Edge, the new Edge browser was sluggish at best. I noticed that right away. The other thing that I noticed right away was when I went into it to try to figure out how to change something like how big the swap partition was, because it just doubles the RAM. It says recommended is like 4 gigs, but it puts it at 32. And I'm like, okay, which is it? And then trying to find the answer to that question, saying, oh, what can I run it at? It doesn't seem like the answer really exists. It seems like, oh, try it till it explodes.
Try it till
Which
you blow
is
it up.
not an answer. Yeah,
No,
try
no,
it till it doesn't work. But that's basically the answer that I got. Well, what I perceived it to be, because I really didn't get one.
Right.
Oh, sorry to go off on a wild tangent, guys.
No, tangents are good sometimes. Wendy, I see you snuck in the room. Hello. Long time no see.
I did. It has been a while.
Yeah. What's new?
Did you join in? Not too much. Mostly been working on stuff with kids and all that kind of thing. You know, new school year's been crazy. More crazy than usual.
Yeah, same here. Yeah. Cool. Well, good to see
I
you.
was happy to just say hi.
Yeah. All right. Anybody got anything else before we move on to the app list that we've been working on?
I do have a comment when it comes back to Windows and needing to use it again. So my daughter, one of the classes she's taking required Minecraft Education Edition. And the easiest way to get that was to install a Windows 10 system and put them on. Because normally they play Minecraft on Multi-MC, which is a fantastic application, which the kids can play Minecraft on Linux, no problem. And she's got some other games, especially Sonic games that are Windows only. They haven't been playing really good through Steam and that kind of thing. So I figured, well, we've got this Windows machine anyway, might as well go ahead and throw these games on there. And the one in particular that she wanted to play, it was missing some kind of requirement. So I go to do the search to find the requirement that she needed. And there's all these kind of sketchy websites. And I'm like, oh my gosh, where's the repo where I could just download it and be done?
Feel safe about it too.
Yes, exactly. I love my repos.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, it makes sense, I guess, that it installs easy on Windows since it is a Microsoft thing.
Right. Absolutely. Yeah. And it did. It makes sense for it to install easy on there. It's just one of those things that you don't think about how fantastic the repos are until you don't have one to pull from. And then it's just wishing it was there.
Yep. All right. Sounds good. Where in the world did we leave off? I think we did games. I think we did Office products. I think we were on to text editing type applications. Does that sound right? Yeah.
I say you're correct, sir.
All right. Hey, I got something right today. Cool. Yeah, so I don't know, on the list, we got these kind of broken up a little weird. I don't know. Got Markdown and text editors. They kind of feel like sort of the same, but maybe a little different. No? Feel like different?
Different. Very different.
Well, let's
agree, very different.
What is Markdown? Is that just a text editor? Because I hear it a lot, but I've never used it.
You know that thing you can do in Telegram where you can make things bold and code and italic and all that.
That's no, I don't do that in Telegram.
Okay. Well, there's a thing you can do where like Markdown is similar to HTML in that it's a text formatting language. Right. You can get text to look different ways using plain text formatting, and then a Markdown renderer will read that text and display it with the formatting you want.
Right.
So a lot of the note-taking applications will allow you to use Markdown. I know like Simple Note does, and yeah, some of the other ones do too, so that you can kind of put headings and whatnot along in your notes.
Yeah, there are a whole bunch of different ones. It depends really almost what you want in terms of Markdown editor.
Is it more of a
what?
Is it more of a plugin or is it
Markdown in a specification, basically a language of how you write?
It's a scripting language to format your text. It's essentially what it is.
Right.
And some of the editors, specifically target that. So.
Yeah.
All right. What are we thinking there? What's everybody's go-to for Markdown editors?
I only have experience with one, and that's CodeMD. And the only reason why I have experience with that one is because it's what we use for show notes.
Sure.
So otherwise, I say that one's fantastic, but I actually haven't used another one, so I can't say.
Makes sense.
I've actually been playing with Learning Vim and Emacs.
So for Markdown, I always suggest Formico because it gives you a live preview. So you can see what you're typing in the normal plain text, but you can also see the Markdown render as you're typing. And for those of you who are Vim lovers, it even has a Vim mode, so you get all the nice Vim key bindings, even when you're doing that in a GUI text editor.
Okay. You want to shoot that to me again so I can type it in?
Formico, Formiko.
Formico. Okay, got it.
How about that one? I am always trying to find the perfect Markdown editor that does everything, and if it can be cross-platform, that's even better. But if it at least runs nicely in Linux, that's fine. I do use Simple Note because I can use it even on my phone, and it works everywhere. And it is very, very simple. Some people won't like it because it's an Electron app. So that's that one. I tried what is it? Retext or ReText, whatever. You can't do tables of contents. So that to me, it's just like it's a simple editor. It's too simple for my needs. Cherry Tree is good, but it actually is pretty cool. That one is pretty cool, but to get it to run on the Mac is like, no, forget it. I'm not going to do that. Because you have to add all sorts of stuff that it normally doesn't have. And another one that I actually use a lot is Standard Notes. Standard Notes is really nice, but if you want to be able to do everything you can, it's proprietary and it's not free, but it's like really, really cheap. It's something like $29 a year or something.
Yeah.
That's the one I use most of the time is Standard Notes.
Yeah.
I've been playing around with Typora, which is kind of fun. It meets just about everything I need, but I haven't played with it enough. And I know some people use Joplin. I've never used it.
I just want to say Standard Notes is 100% open source server and app.
Oh, it is? I didn't realize that. I thought at one time it wasn't.
No, what you get for when you pay is you get extra features.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry then.
I love Standard Notes.
So do I.
An additional clarification, you can also manually build the extensions and plugins yourself and self-host it. So you're basically paying for the convenience of them doing all that for you.
That's cool.
Yeah, and it is encrypted, so that's if people are concerned about that. But yeah, that's the one I use. I didn't realize that it was open source. I pay the extra, like, I think they had a special at one point last year. You get 3 years for the $29 or something.
Yeah.
When we're really, and I took that. I thought that was a good deal.
Cool.
But I like that one. That's my go-to one so far.
All right. Well, we'll put that down for your vote.
Mm-hmm.
If I may,
go
I
ahead.
use a Markdown note taker. I use a couple of them, but one that I've been using for many years because it's offline and I'm in a lot of situations where I have no internet.
Mm-hmm.
It's something called TiddlyWiki. It's a non-linear notebook, so you can take and you can link and cross-link things and tag stuff, and create lists very quickly, very easily. You can do JavaScript in it, so you can actually create like tiddlers that are called tiddlers, little bits that give you like an output of different things. It's pretty great. Yeah, I like it. TiddlyWiki. You can run it in a browser. There's a browser extension that doesn't work sometimes, but you can. There's a standalone desktop application that doesn't have spell check, so that's cool too. But outside of those little issues, it's really pretty great.
Mm-hmm.
I continue to use it despite the different little issues I've had with it.
Another one that sounds very similar to that I use, and I use it for some stuff because is ZimWiki.
Yep.
I like that one. I like that because you can have it export the whole thing as HTML, and then if you want to go from there, you can just like plop it up there on the web or on your local server, whatever you want to do with that. I really like, and it's got all sorts of extensions you can add. So that's another good one. I forgot about that one. So that's
Big Pod. What do you use? Oh, sorry.
For all the 2 times that I did write Markdown, because I normally just plop text in a text editor. I used VS Code, like basically for everything text related, and it has an amazing feature that allows you to open a side window, basically split the window in half, and on one side you have rendered version, on one side you can have what you're writing.
All right.
So that's what I used.
Cool. Donnie, what you got for us?
I use Joplin. I like Joplin. It's has a mobile app, and also it works on Linux, and you can actually host it. You can self-host it too, so pretty good.
All right. Jinda, go right ahead.
The only one I ever used was called Remarkable. I think it's considered one. I didn't really know it was one until I looked it up to make sure that it is considered one. I thought it was just a fancy text editor. I don't know if anybody's ever used that.
I've not used that one, but yeah.
I don't know if it's any good or not. It's the only one I ever tried, and I didn't know it was considered a Markdown editor. I just used it because it could write an equation in it.
Wasn't it one of the earlier ones?
It could be. I mean,
if I'm
B
not
squared plus
mistaken.
B squared equals C squared was easy to write in it.
It was one of the first ones that could, I think, handle equations and stuff like that. Because a lot of them can't. That's the thing. A lot of them can, and I like them to be able to handle equations, even though I don't normally need to put them in. It's just a.
Yeah, I didn't know it really was considered a Markdown editor. I didn't even know that was a term until today. I feel kind of silly, and I've been using their program for years, and I never even knew what it was. Oh well.
Yeah.
Learned something new.
I'm actually with Jinda on that one. I didn't know what Markdown was until somewhat recently. I'd been using it for a long time. I just thought it I learned a version of Markdown on using wikis, like updating wikis. There's the wiki, the MediaWiki Markdown. I don't know what it's called, but
yeah, that might even be Markup, which is little bit
Oh.
different, but it's close. Yeah.
Right. Anyway, and so anyway, I think it is called a markup language.
Yeah.
And so like Markdown, I'm like,
Nah.
we're splitting hairs here.
Yeah, more or less. Yeah. There is some subtle differences, I guess. I don't know. Computer Kid.
Oh,
yeah. Did you go ahead, Shickle, if you had something?
Oh, I was just gonna make a joke about how every rectangle or every square is a rectangle, but not every rectangle is a square.
Yes.
Yeah.
I believe markups are those that have brackets and tags around.
Right.
That's the difference, I believe.
I do know the syntax is just a little different, and every now and then I'll botch it up and I'll be like, why didn't that work? Oh, yeah, that's the wrong thing. Computer Kid, go ahead.
Yeah, so I've just started using Ghostwriter recently, and it's really nice for like just making a list, throwing something quick together, text-wise, that's not super complicated. That's what I use it for. I used TiddlyWiki for a while, but I feel like it would have been great for me if I could ever remember to use it, but I just always forgot, and it ended up becoming like just not like it would have an error ever so often because I obviously went with the full like self-hosting it, and I was like didn't ever go there to figure out. So I probably would like it, but no. So I just use Ghostwriter.
That's fair. Colin, go right ahead.
All right. Well, there's a couple of references here that I've heard that I use. Now, I'm a big user of Cherry Tree. So is that a Markdown app? I don't know.
I think it'll do Markdown. Yeah.
Yeah, it does Markdown.
Oh, well, there you go. I use Markdown. And I did mess around with Joplin because Cherry Tree is only on the desktop. I couldn't find it anywhere for an app, but I did install Joplin and played around with it because it's sort of cross-platform on the Android as well. But I don't really use it. I was just messing with it a little while ago, but didn't go back to it. But it was just would have been nice to be able to reference everything anywhere you can. But Cherry Tree, for the most part, I put all my technical stuff down, especially when you get problems and you solve them. I write them down and I sort of doodle on Cherry Tree. That's what I do. But that's a really good app.
Well, then it also you can set up a really nice table of contents with links and stuff to go to everything that you want. That's what I like.
Yeah, I haven't sort of implemented that, Barb, and I know it's there, but I haven't really sort of tried that. But yeah, maybe I'll try that as well. Yeah, links to websites you're talking about, aren't you? Is that
And
right?
links to files and stuff.
Oh,
And
okay.
And let's say you want to just create like a list of, you've got 10 different cool things that you figured out how to do. And you want to be able to just have them, you can leave them in their little files, but you can have another file that just like links to them.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah.
All right. I'll have to check that out as well. Oh, cool. And I just can't get over that name, TiddlyWiki.
I know. I looked it up. TiddlyWiki.
Yep. It's pretty cool.
I looked it up.
It's fun to say.
Yeah, it is. It is.
In the app, the individual notes are called tiddlers.
Tiddlers. That doesn't sound nice at all.
Yeah.
Could be worse. Big God, go ahead.
To correct myself, I just googled up what is the relationship between markup and Markdown. Markdown is a language of type markup. Markup is basically type of languages, and among those it's XML, HTML, and Markdown.
Gotcha.
So, and Markdown was named because it's a joke, basically a joke. It's why it's Markdown.
Okay.
Good.
Good to know. Thank you.
I thought
Thank you.
I would have thought markup is when you're writing like on the blackboard like this, and Markdown is when you're writing on the desk.
Gotcha.
You're a literalist. That's what you are, Colin.
All right. We did not come to any sort of consensus there at all. We had like one of everything. We don't have a perfect app with this. I don't know how we pick.
All the apps.
I can make it even harder.
Everything.
Go ahead.
I use for note taking. I use an app called Notes Up, which supports markup or Markdown. Actually, both technically. Gosh. And then for just writing, I use something called Quilter, which is another elementary OS app, and that's actually how I learned Markdown because it's got like a little cheat sheet in the corner. So.
No, that doesn't help us.
No.
I figured it wouldn't.
Well, thanks for that. All right, so that was so much fun. We're gonna probably just move on. I don't think we have a consensus on that one.
Hey, I also use Joplin, so that one wins now, right? Because
Oh, there we go. Yep, we'll put 2 on.
Oh,
that.
there we go.
Joplin's at the top now. That's the winner. Next up, we had text editors. So, what does everybody use there?
Uh-oh.
Yeah, I know.
We're talking text editors, not IDEs, correct?
Vim.
Because that can get very, very complicated.
Yeah,
very
we have
quickly.
another.
The line
I
is
believe-
a bit blurred between
Yeah.
those two things.
So just
whatever
text.
you take.
Yeah, well, a lot of
Seems
these
that
things
right
do
text.
overlap. There's no doubt.
Yeah.
However,
Yeah.
we do have different categories, one for text editor, one for development. So I would call an IDE part of development and text editor, something like Notepad or Notepad++ or one of those sort of things as something that pretty much only does text editing.
Okay, then I'm going to go ahead and say I use gedit and on rare occasions Nano because I hate Vim, as I've said so many times. Vim and all its cousins can go burn in a dumpster fire for all I care.
I agree with you, Thomas.
So when
No, I would say I would go with Vim and with the assistance of Vim Bootstrap, which is basically a config file generator for Vim that automatically installs plugins and whatnot. It's actually really nice, very lightweight, and you can use it everywhere. And Thomas would love it.
So Wendy, you've had your hand up for a little bit.
Yes, I use Kate, and I don't know whether it's because it's, stuck on Plasma, and I use Plasma, but Farron agrees with me. Kate is awesome. I use it all the time, especially for offline show notes or if there's stuff I just want to keep randomly. Kate's been my go-to for quite a while now.
I have to say my favorite text editor is PowerPoint. Like you can just write as much as you can in this one little space and just make additional slides to keep them. It's the best. Like you'd be amazed at how like efficient you have to be with your language when you only have a slide to fit it in.
Just
I'm now writing a PowerPoint presentation for hate mail.
There you go.
So is that
a
text editor for like Twitter? So you have this limited amount
Yeah,
of space
kinda.
you can fill it,
Yeah.
and it has to be the most important things.
Which is why PowerPoint is the best part of the Office suite.
Okay, if you say so.
Alrighty then.
Let's get Computer Kid in here now. We get some sanity going.
So I use Nano. I know that Vim is faster and I should learn it, but Nano works. I should say I mostly use Nano. On occasion, if I just need some of the niceties that a GUI provides, I use Kate. But mostly it's all Nano.
That's fair enough. It working is the whole point of it being there, so that
And
checks out.
Apparently, some minor distro has just added that as the default text editor.
Oh,
So, along with Btrfs. So
it's a big jump.
Apparently, Nano's kind of important.
It's the
If you're going from the terminal,
Nano's
then
really handy.
Yeah.
Nano's easy.
It's easy.
I
and
edit
it's-
everything in the terminal from Nano.
Yeah.
It's
Like
very,
every
very
CLI
handy.
guide, it uses Nano. I
Yeah.
haven't found any except the really hard ones that use Vim.
Because they haven't quit yet.
Right. You're still there.
They're still writing.
Yeah.
All right.
All right, Barb, you got your hand up. Oh,
Yep,
sorry.
I got my
Sorry.
hand up. I agree with Nano for real quick little things. You can't go wrong with that. Vim and all that can go drown in the Susquehanna for all I care. I'm with Thomas on that kind of idea. I will use for some things I use Pluma, which I always use it with with Mate. And I have started using VS Codium instead of VS Code as a text editor, for the simple fact that I like the philosophy of it, and it gets rid of the telemetry that's in VS Code. So that's what I use.
That's a pretty big consideration, especially if you got like network to worry about. I know some people that that live in places with tight bandwidth. It's just not something they want to deal with. Big Pud, you got your hand up?
Well, for text editing, I will use Nano because, well, it's just text. But if it's anything more complex or you have to write for more time, I use my own build of VS Code. But that's really an IDE because it's so extensible. So let's leave it for later. But yeah, Nano for just
Nano?
text.
Cool. Gotcha. Colin, go right ahead.
Yeah, I find myself using Nano a lot. I generally use whatever text editor comes default with the distro I'm using mostly. But
So while we're waiting, Eris, you're back and you have your hand up, and let's try to get something
Yay,
going
we're
on.
back.
Hey, it worked.
Okay. Well, I probably should have used Vim more, but Nano is so convenient that I always default to Nano for that reason. And once you learn how to take out a line, it really hinders my Vim. I can use Vim, but I really should use it more. But saying that, however, if I'm using Plasma, I'll probably default to Kate, and if I'm not on Kate, my vote will go to Genie.
Genie's for development.
But it's,
Try
you, can
again.
still use it, you can still use it for notes.
Yes,
text.
but because A, it has syntax highlighting and that's its main purpose. B, it has a terminal built into it. And C, it has a built-in compiler. It is meant for development.
Get It also can do that, by the way. Just an
But
FYI.
I mean, syntax
Basically
highlighting, yes,
everything can
I'll give you that. But it doesn't have a built-in terminal and it doesn't have a built-in compiler. So,
Vim kind of does.
Sorry, Donnie.
Here we go.
So
Here we go.
Vim is not an option anymore. Hey,
Vim is basically an IDE.
So we have Donnie.
think about
I mean, it depends
Vim
on your
being
config.
Vim being an IDE actually makes a lot of sense though, because if you think about the situation that was going on when VI was first created, it was the early Unix days, and the people who were using Unix were writing code most of the time, or were working on Unix itself. So they
Bill,
needed.
what was that you were saying? I'm trying to get a word through.
As I mute myself because I'm copying Dan.
Okay.
I lowered Donnie's hand accidentally, and I wanted to get him a chance to say what he was going to say because I lowered his
Oh, I
hand.
think I'm never went was raised from before, so I already said what I.
Oh, the phantom
Bill.
hands.
I'm just trying to be a nice, happy person.
Oh,
Thank you.
Well, you got that down, Bill.
Oh yes, I'm super happy.
I'm not convinced for some reason. I don't feel convinced.
I don't know if I've
sound
missed.
very convincing, actually.
Go ahead.
I don't know
Colin.
if I've missed any here, Dan. I've got Sed as a text editor. We've got Gedit, Nano, and Kate. I think Nate was talking about Vim, which comes under development anyway. So I was just updating that file for you.
Well, thank you. That's good.
Yeah.
It took me
I
a
don't know
minute
if
to
I
get
missed
my-
any.
Yeah. No, I think you
But
got
if
it.
Col- I think if Colin's updating the file, though, the date stamps are going to be really weird because it's going to be happening in the future.
We won't be able to see him until tomorrow.
We'll catch up to it. Don't worry.
If I'm editing its future already, so yeah.
All right.
It's already Sunday.
Has
So
anybody
it's already
got?
tomorrow for you. It's
Right.
still yesterday for us.
Yeah.
Today for us.
All right. Anybody else got any other text editor things?
Yeah.
Go ahead, Chickle.
Well, it's probably no surprise, but I use elementary code as my main text editor for almost everything. And It's nice because I don't know, it's pretty, I guess, and it does stuff. So there we go. Yeah.
Question is, Shickle, does it work on your Chromebook?
Technically, yes.
Have you tried it?
I have.
Okay.
It's easier to just open up Google Docs, if I'm honest.
I figured
Yeah.
that.
I got to install Flatpak in like the Linux container, and then it's not worth it.
All right. Well, looks like Nano is the clear cutaway winner on that. Everybody's super happy
And
with
just
the
a minute,
Nano.
doesn't every system come with Nano on it?
No,
It will soon.
It doesn't.
Huh?
Some server builds don't come with it. Come with only with Vim or even VI.
Right.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Even Ubuntu server for some, basically with minimal version, I believe it is.
The mini one does, yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
This stream just got a lot richer. I see Leo just joined.
Dollar.
It's dollar sign.
Welcome, Leo.
Thank you.
You missed the fun, but that's okay. You're here now. All right. So it looks like Nano's the winner. Probably why Fedora decided to make it default, right?
Yeah, we are responsible.
We're totally responsible for it. We've solidified
Fedora looked
that.
into their crystal ball and they saw that Biddle would make a best apps list, and they saw Nano on it, and they were like, "Gotta get that."
There you go. All right. Next up on the
think it
list.
says, can I just say one thing real
Sure,
quick?
go ahead.
So Fedora is, I don't say it's defaulted to developers, but a lot of developers use Fedora. And it does say a lot when they are going to change to Nano. That is a big statement.
I agree.
That's true.
I agree. So next up is development. So your IDEs would fall into that category.
Oh, this is a weird category, if I say so myself.
Little
We
bit,
have
there's-
everything from IDEs to container runtimes to Git to I don't know what else.
Yeah, there's a lot of
Yeah.
stuff in there. I don't know why, but anyway.
But it's hard to categorize the development tools.
That's true. There are a lot of development tools. So
You have people using Emacs for their entire development, and so you can go from there to doing something like VS Code to Genie, Jiri, anything. So it's such an open.
All right. Well, we'll take everybody's vote and we'll put them on the list. What's everybody got?
So I'm going to suggest two things.
Go ahead.
The first one is Genie, or Genie as some pronounce it. Somebody else was talking about it earlier. It's an amazing IDE. It runs on literally everything, even Android. The caveat with that is you need Termux to use it, and you got to do the whole X11 thing, but you can do it. It was actually initially made for Windows, but then somebody ported it to Linux. So, huzzah. And the other thing that I was going to suggest is Git Kraken. It may be proprietary, but it makes interacting with Git super, super easy. And if you need an IDE in a pinch, it has one built in.
Okay. So what's your vote, though? What do you think? Number one thing you got to have?
Genie.
Okay.
Genie all day long, because there are plugins and one of them has a little bit of Git integration. It needs better Git integration, but it has Git integration.
Okay. Sounds good. Big Pod. Go ahead. Oh,
Well,
yeah. Big Pod, go ahead.
For me, the ID it's VS Code all the way. That's the thing. I have my own build of it, so I've got that there. But I also use a lot of Docker and Git. Plus probably some things I forget. But VS Code has most of the stuff covered for me. I actually also host my a version of VS Code called Code Server on my server for if I'm off outside of my house, I can connect to it from tablet via VPN, and I can use it in the browser from the tablet if I need to. So for that, VS Code is great, and that comes from the fact that it is Electron app, which is for some kinda off-putting, but it is really well made Electron app, so I'm okay with it.
That sounds good. Donnie, you got your hand raised.
I use VS Codium. So that's where my vote go to.
That's good stuff. And I think, Barb, you were mentioning something about that as well, weren't you?
Yes, I was. I'll use VS Codium.
Okay.
I like it.
Wonderful. So we got, what, 2 in for that right now?
I think so.
Yep.
Leo, do you do any development work? I'm curious.
Not development work. I do bash scripting. I touch Python, not my own, but if I need to make a quick change to something, I can do that. I'm not fluent.
That counts
so-
as development.
That works.
Oh, hey, I'll take it.
Yeah.
So,
I'd call
but
it.
yeah, VS Codium is really where I'm at. I mean, I try to distance myself from the telemetry, and that's how it's a good way to do it. So, yeah, another vote for VS Codium for sure.
Fantastic. Any other wonderful, wacky developers in here?
I would once again say Vim and Vim Bootstrap.
Nice.
I've been
We'll
using
let you.
mostly VS Code lately. I love telemetry, so I'm using the real thing.
It's
All right.
all the real thing.
My build has telemetry disabled, so I'm kind of good there.
And there was
Well-
somebody on here who had mentioned VS Codium, wasn't it? Because that's where I heard it one
Yeah.
Saturday night.
Yep. We had a
Yeah.
few votes for that. So
And it was after that. In fact, I think after somebody had been talking about it, I went on their website and I downloaded it, and it's like, yeah, I like this better.
Yeah, it's a really good application, and it's got some decent community support as well.
Oh yeah.
So it's definitely hard to go wrong with that one.
So I ended up taking VS Code off.
all right. Does look like VS Codium is kind of our winner here.
Well, I will throw something in just for the bottom of the list here.
All right, go ahead.
This will probably really annoy some people, but I actually use Eclipse, the
Okay.
Java
So
IDE.
heavy.
It's a
If
big
you're
boy.
using Java, it's a fine.
What?
Yeah.
You use what?
By
So
the
it
time it
was the-
loads, I forgot what I'm trying to build.
It was
What
the
is this
first
here?
IDE I've ever used, so I just got used to it. So
Actually,
What is
it
this
does
heresy?
More than Java, actually. That's C++,
Right.
and
I even do
You can
Python
use
in it.
most any.
Rust, and I believe Python as well. So
You
yeah.
can use it with any language.
Shickle, have you tried any other IDEs?
Yeah, I have. It's habit, man. I know it's a dirty habit too because it's
Please,
If
please.
it works for you, though.
Visual Studio Code.
The fact you
Ready to
even like consider Eclipse gives me physical pain.
The fact
Oh, you'll be
that
okay.
he even mentioned it.
Right?
Yeah.
Because I had to take a Java class and they forced us to use Eclipse. And I
Yeah.
had a burning hatred for it. And I couldn't get it off my system. It was like a virus. It like penetrated
Yeah.
deep into the bowels of my system. And I kept finding bits and pieces of it everywhere, no matter what I did.
So you might as well embrace it and just keep on using it.
yeah.
Oh no, I just nuked and paved. I just like no, I'm not
Yeah.
doing it.
That's what I did.
I've done
In the
that,
first year of
Eclipse
the
is
current
evil.
stage of schooling,
Yeah.
we the programming course, we technically had to use Eclipse, and irony was at the end, only me and the professor, we both used IntelliJ IDEA.
Okay.
That's a pretty
And
good one.
everybody else used Eclipse, even though professor should have used Eclipse.
Right.
That was a funny thing.
That is funny. Nate, you had something.
So when it comes to Python, I like to use PyCharm.
Mm.
That I enjoy because it's really easy to just
Makes sense.
everything's right there.
It does make sense.
I'm actually really lazy like I like to do things, but I don't want to have to fiddle around. And then I use the Arduino IDE for anything that has to do with Arduino, like the little to program these little guys. You know, Arduino, it works great for that, like Node MCUs and whatnot. So it's very easy to interface with the with the devices. You know, all the everything is just right there. Some people I know do it with other things. I guess,
can. I think a lot of it is C++ stuff. So I mean, I guess you could do it anywhere and then just connect up to your device and plug it in. But
there's a nice menu.
Yeah, no, it's I'll agree with you.
Done.
It's super easy to use that. It's all built in. Yeah. I agree. All right. After all that, though, it looks like VS Codium is the winner. We got 3 votes on that, with VS Code coming in second. So,
as it should
No
be.
surprise there.
Yeah, but they're close. I mean, they're similar, and so I guess that's
Are
what everybody is looking to use, I guess. So go ahead, Bill.
Are you or Dan doing the vote? Because you need to add another vote to VS Code.
Me?
Yeah, who's doing the poll? Who's keeping score here? I just want to make sure because my VS Code vote wasn't counted. I voted. I've voted multiple times already, so I want to make sure this election I vote counts.
All right, I'll add you in. We'll count the Chads on the floor, and we'll come up with the real vote there. Maybe that's a tie.
Just mail in another ballot. It'll be fine. Just mail in
Okay,
another
yeah.
ballot. It'll be fine.
I'm going to Chicago to do that. So
Okay, Joshua, go ahead.
Is this like is VS Code going to be like? Are we going to have the next thing, or are we done with IDEs?
We're basically
I think we're done. I think
Okay, good, because I just want to talk about how I sound crazy, but I like to use Atom for my work. Atom is
That's
not
not
an
crazy.
IDE. Atom is not an IDE. I don't want to. I know people say I'm crazy, but it's a text editor. However, due to the amount of just like work that's been put into it, it uses Electron. It's built with HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. Sort of like a website. It's very fast, fluent, easy. It's on a snap. If you want to develop your syntax for your own language, you can easily do that. It's pretty easy to also make your own themes by just changing the hex and RGB files. So that's also easy. And if you really want to make it an IDE, there are packages and other community tools that people have made that you can install through Atom that will give you stuff such as a terminal that you can open inside of Atom and other stuff like that. So while I just find it so much better because you don't have to worry about installing a whole IDE that is made by a company like NetBeans or any of that when you can just use this one. It also has good GitHub support.
Yeah.
Well, technically, if you just install VS Code or VS Codium, it's just a text editor anyway. Then you add extensions, and then it becomes a so powerful IDE that it's crazy. And it's something like that with Atom, so and with Vim, so yeah.
I gotta agree with
It
that.
is a fork of Atom.
Yeah, I was gonna say I
Yeah.
agree with that because once Microsoft bought GitHub, who were they not behind Atom?
Yes, and Electron.
Once Microsoft bought that, I was just like, well, I assume Atom will get vacuumed up into VS Code anyway. I hopped over to VS Code and then eventually VS Codium because I'm not a fan of telemetry.
Right.
Well,
There we go.
I mean,
well,
Josh,
there's a funny thing that Microsoft, before they bought GitHub, made a better Electron app than those who created Electron.
Josh, you're not wrong in liking Atom because if you're developing whatever works for you is the best app.
Yeah.
I can agree because I mean I have tried other desktop environments. The only exceptions I have is Java. I always use Eclipse for that because it's complicated with packages and all that. And it has just a bunch of other features I've been using since the first day I've begun programming. Most of the time, it's pretty lightweight, and it's more of a you choose what you want. It's not like VS Code where it will just come with a bunch of other stuff. Like if you don't want the the code preview thing on the right, you don't have to do that. Oh yeah, and there's also while you're typing, there's also suggestions, which means that technically, if you are signing a change log, you could just say ch or something, and then it would pop up. You hit enter, it'll automatically fill out the fields for you.
Yep. All right, Eris, you got your hand up too.
I was gonna say that my Genie vote wasn't counted for the text editor, because I think if we're gonna have code as a text editor, I think we can have Genie.
That's the way to do it.
I'll add you in there.
Also, I want to go back to what Bill said about Chicago and voting. The saying is, you vote early and you vote often.
Yes. Vote early, vote often. All right, we got it in there. Does look like VS Code and VS Codium end up in a tie with Genie number 2. So those are good, solid ones.
Yeah, they are.
File managers.
Oh, Rocco's not here to champion his file manager of choice.
I'm gonna put his vote in there because by proxy, I already know what he's gonna say. He's gonna put
Nemo, right? He's choosing Nemo.
He says dolphin
Yep. Oh yeah, that's Rocco.
every time.
Hold on, wait. Does he add Dolphin to Pop OS, or how's that work?
I don't know, but I think he would if he could.
He probably does.
He professes that it's number 1 always.
Mm-hmm.
All right,
With
so
single click.
Yeah, probably. Yeah. What's everybody's favorite there? Computer Kid, go ahead.
I'm throwing my vote in with Rocco. If I'm gonna use a GUI file manager, it's Dolphin all day. But most of the time I'll just ls and cd around.
My man.
Cool.
Colin, you got your hand up?
Yep, Nemo, definitely.
Oh. All right.
I like Nemo.
Big Pod, what do you use?
Well, currently I use Kaja, but I gotta say I do prefer Nautilus more.
Okay.
Sounds good.
Tony, go right ahead.
My vote goes to Nemo.
Uh-oh. This might be lopsided.
Might be.
We might be finding Nemo tonight.
No. Vash, what's your vote?
Just to blow everything up, I'm gonna say Emacs.
All right. Yeah, that'll.
But if it's close, I guess I'll go with Nemo.
Okay. Jinda.
Dolphin.
Donnie?
I use whatever is installed, whatever distro installed for that distro. My favorite is Dolphin, but recently I'm using PCman FM.
Nice. Is that a ploy to appeal to Dan's better nature, or?
I mean, it works for me. I'm okay with that.
I'm using a tiling window manager recently.
Oh,
so that's why I'm using.
That makes a lot of sense, actually. That's a good choice. Yep. Barb, go right ahead.
I use whatever file manager comes with whatever distro. So, like with Ubuntu Mate, it's I don't know exactly how you say it.
Kaja. Yeah.
Kaja. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I have been known to put that on when I was playing around with other stuff, but with Pop OS, I just leave it with whatever they have.
Right.
Yeah. So I'm not that neurotic about it.
No, I get it. We'll put you in for Kaja though, since
okay, yeah,
you got a slight edge for that. It sounds
neurotic.
Like. Thomas, go ahead.
Nemo all day.
No Thunar?
Nope, I don't like Thunar, despite using XFCE.
Wendy, what's your vote?
Another vote for Dolphin.
Oh, okay.
There is an aquatic flavor to this election.
Yeah,
there sure is.
Dolphin and Nemo.
And Nautilus?
Yeah.
Whoa.
Mm-hmm.
Have we
Leo,
discovered something?
yeah.
Isn't Kaja a fish? I'm just
Yes.
I'm just throwing it out there.
It's some marine thing.
Leo, what's your vote?
It's Nemo. Got to be Nemo. But I got a second computer kit on this one, man. I have a terminal open all the time, so I mean, CD.
A.
Yep.
On behalf,
But Nemo, my vote goes to Nemo for sure.
oh yeah, on behalf of Ubuntu Cinnamon, although I do use GNOME as my main DE with all the Ubuntu extensions, and so I typically use Nautilus, I'm voting for Nemo. And whoever said that we're going to be finding Nemo, I will write a file manager in D-Ling just so we can make Finding Dory.
I am honored.
There you go. That's cool. Eris, what's
You
your
have
vote?
lost speaking privileges.
Eris, what you got?
I'm gonna vote for Dolphin. I really miss the zebra stripe when I'm not using Dolphin.
The what?
The zebra stripe.
What
You know
is
how
that?
it separates when you list out your file, your folder on
Oh,
Dolphin. It has a
yeah.
different coloring.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's really understated. How
That's a nice
how
touch.
that is.
I will put my vote in for probably one that no one was thinking of, and that's the Deepin file manager. I really like the way that one feels. It may be not the most functional. That was a sentence. It may not be the most functional in terms of like explicit features like Dolphin and whatnot, but especially coming from like a Windows environment, the way that they've structured their layout and the way that it like the first folder you go to is like your computer folder rather than just like your home folder, it felt really nice to me. So that's mine.
We're testing Deepin on Linux user space, and I've got to say, it does look really nice, and it has some nice little touches. Like I don't know, it just looks good, and the way it's laid out is pretty sweet.
I'm gonna second this. When you first open it up, it's got a real informative vibe going on.
Yes.
I mean, I hate to say it, but it's got a real Windows vibe. When you go to this PC in Windows, it gives you all your disk information. It gives you all the normal places that you can go.
Yeah.
It's really cool on that front for sure.
And those rounded corners, that's fantastic.
Oh man,
so much round everywhere.
So good.
Just like back in the XP days. All the
What's
roundness.
wrong with round?
No, there's nothing wrong with it. It actually looks really nice. I jest.
I just put my vote in for Dolphin.
Okay.
Make sure you put my vote in for Dolphin because I've tried many of the other file managers. Now I haven't used Kaja, but there's certain things that Dolphin does that the other file managers don't, and so little things like, and maybe they do it, and I just don't know how. But the quick splitting of the you can split your view so you can have your stuff side by side. You can add a terminal very easily, and the terminal follows you around. If you go someplace, it'll change directories, and it does all these things to like, hold my hand, but not necessarily, do everything for me or let me fall off a cliff. And also, like I sometimes instead of using like, you can use Fish in the
yes,
it's a Kio slave, Fish for doing SSH file transfers in Dolphin, and to me, I think that is so awesome because I can basically treat any computer just like a file on my system. And although I can do it in the terminal, I just think it's a lot quicker to do it, drag and drop when I have to do a bunch of files, with the
I'll
Dolphin.
agree.
So I don't know what I don't recall which file manager MX uses, MX Linux. That's probably Thunar, I'm thinking.
Probably Thunar, yeah.
Yeah. But I couldn't do some of those things in Thunar, and I thought that was a little bit frustrating. So I do prefer a full, rich feature file manager. Although I will say, every once in a while, I still use Conqueror when I want to graphically look at my my disk space usage, because sometimes things hide on me. I don't know what's chopping up all my disk space usage, and then with doing DLN extend with Wendy and everything. I tend to have lots of files now, and sometimes I forget where I put them because I'm awesome like that. And so it's like, oh, I just freed up 30 gig of space. Yay.
Yeah.
So.
Well, that's cool.
Yeah, Dolphin.
Dolphin, yeah. And not to toot our own horn, but PCManFM-QT, that's pretty much Dolphin esque, if you will. It has a lot of those same features. So you get the terminal, you get the split windows, you get all that stuff, and you get fish, just like you talked about. It's kind of all the same, which is really great. And those are the great features I think that you need.
It doesn't pull a lot of any dependency when you download it.
Yeah.
Essentially, it's another super awesome Qt application.
Yeah.
Because Qt is awesome.
In contrast, I just tried to install the Deepin file manager on Arch to check it out. It wanted to install like DKMS modules and replace my
so Deepin is
my
pretty crazy.
display manager.
Yeah, Deepin is fairly
Deepin
crazy.
is pretty crazy. When they do their development, they essentially rewrite the whole system. And if you install one package, they expect that you're installing like almost everything. So
Yeah, it's meant to be like a package deal, so I wouldn't.
There's that joke
isn't
about
Dolphin
how if
same
you
thing?
install anything KDE, you install everything KDE.
Yep.
That's nothing compared to Deepin.
But did you use -- no install recommends because
Does Arch do that?
or have a command that doesn't install the recommendation packages or something?
Arch doesn't have an equivalent to that. Arch doesn't install optional
Pac-Man.
dependency by default.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
I
why
know.
Arch installs tend to be broken very often because optional dependencies aren't evaluated.
Neil, I love you.
Debbie.
All right. Looks like Dolphin is the clear-cut winner here for your file managers. Got
Dolphin's
7.
amazing, but I have no idea what we're talking about. I just got here.
We were just
File
picking
managers.
our apps. We were making our app list, and these are the ones that everybody wants to see in their distro.
Where's my vote for Finder?
Finder?
No.
I'm sorry.
Finder.
No.
I don't know what you're talking about. That's not a thing.
Finder is probably just a desktop application name. The actual name of the application that you would call it from the terminal is probably not called whatever it was.
It's a Mac thing. Anyway.
Of course it is.
Yeah, so Dolphin. Nemo, number 2, with 5 votes. So, I mean...
Nice.
Those
Solid.
are
Yeah,
solid.
come on.
Those are very solid.
Solid. Yeah.
Both of those at the top.
Hold on. Did you get Vince's vote? Because he voted for Nemo in the chat over here.
All right. Well, I wasn't
I'm
watching the
just-
chat.
I just wanted to make sure everybody's vote counts. You know.
All right, so 6 for Nemo, but still a little short, guys.
Did you get Rocco's vote for Nemo as well, Dan?
No.
Make sure.
No. I put Rocco's in for Dolphin. He's the one that tipped us over the top, so he's the winning vote.
Well, I'll have a talk with him about that later.
Yeah, we certainly will. No, good solid choices, really. Both of those are very full featured.
Dolphin for the win.
Yeah, Dolphin for the win. Next up in our list is your choice of CLI shells.
Oh, fish.
Fish all the way.
Yeah.
I think Fish is gonna win. Like right now, I'm calling it.
So good.
Like Dolphin,
Ash.
Nano, and Fish. You know we're gonna win.
Here it is. It's gonna be Fish and Zish on the top. There it is.
Yeah. All right.
I prefer CSH. It was
No,
I
you
think, just
don't.
far better.
No, you don't. I know you better than that. There is no way you use a shell that by default is used on BSDs.
No, nobody's using that.
Right.
I'll be honest with you. I kind of just like the plain bash, but I mean,
bash?
if you could be able to colorize it more better, definitely Fish is pretty great. I just wish that it could have support with lolcat, and I was making my own Perl application or my own terminal written in Perl. I don't know what my status is on that. I don't think I've really been doing it, but I think it was just buggy with the porting to lolcat and everything. But I think if Fish could have integration with lolcat, if I can figure out the source code where it runs the command and then just add the lolcat thing, I'll be so happy.
So what's your
Oh,
vote?
I'm sure you'll find it easily enough, and they'll take the patch, and it'll be great.
Yeah, it'll be fantastic. What's your vote, though, Joshua? Fish. All right.
Even if they
You
don't.
got to
really
go
work.
with Fish because of Trey and Astio. I mean,
Are
that's a
we like
keep.
somewhat
That's-
unanimous here? I mean, everybody gonna vote Fish? Because
I'm gonna vote
because
Fish.
is the best.
I've never used it.
Really?
And
Never
that's
gone
why you're-
fishing?
That's why you're not going to vote for
Install
Fish.
Change shell -s fish. It will change your life. It is
All right,
amazing.
So what's that command? Zipper what?
Zipper in fish shell.
Zipper.
Pac-Man SYU.
What is the?
Just install fish.
Hold on, wait. It's Pac-Man SYYYYYY.
Yeah,
right.
You better
Can
get
you
that
just
synced
install
up.
the
Ys
new
make more
package?
better.
Just get it over with. Just search it up somewhere. It's packaged everywhere. It's packaged in a snap. Go find it.
God.
I'm
That's
just gonna
true.
go against the grain and say I like Bash. I don't care what you say. I've tried ZSH at least, and I didn't like it as much.
If I may
I mean,
ask,
Bash
and
is
this
fine. It's not a terrible shell. It's
It's
just
not
not
perfect.
a great one.
I'll
So
admit it's
what-
not perfect, but
It's not perfect. but
Neil,
for
tell
what
me-
I do, it's fine.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the other thing. It's like for what I do with it, I can stick with Bash. So
Yeah, I guess I'm not really sure what is it that about fish that like what is the key feature of fish that makes it so much better than Bash? I guess is my question.
Colorization and autocomplete.
Yep, you got it in
Bash
one.
is-
And
it
it's
reads
friendly.
man pages and populates auto completion based on that. If you type words, it has context, it understands all those things.
Yeah.
And it does the whole history auto completion thing. So like there's one command I always type to do a single thing, then I type it again and it like I type the first bit and it shows up what I want to type and it just hits that key.
So computer kit actually provided the only information that I thought that makes fish unique because my Bash configuration, it does do color and it does do autocomplete quite nicely.
Well,
Yes,
I've
but not
got a
autocomplete
friend
based
who
on
I'm
man pages.
I've got a friend who I'm
Right.
talking to in Discord right now who would tell you that his ZSH can do everything and more than fish.
But you have to actually add a whole bunch of crap to do it.
Right.
And
Yeah,
it
you have
gets
to work
very,
for it.
very slow when you do that. Like the
So I
difference
did.
is
I
Kind of like
actually
Arch.
moved
You have
from
to work
ZSH
for the
to
good.
Fish. I actually moved from ZSH to Fish. And the reason I moved from ZSH to Fish was that it literally took 10 seconds for my terminal to start because loading all the ZSH scripts to activate that functionality took forever. And Fish has all of that built into its code base. And so it just works like that.
Mm-hmm.
So I see all this dash fish completion stuff. What or dash fish dash completion? What are all these packages?
Those
Neil?
are for adding certain extra rich hints and stuff like that in cases where a lot of applications nowadays don't provide man pages. And so it doesn't have anything to process to generate completion. And so some people have written completion files instead of writing man pages. Because you can write completion files for Fish. Or you can have man pages that Fish can process to generate that data for you.
I just heard that as, or you could do it right.
Yes.
Yeah, right.
You could do it right, but it also gives you a way to do it wrong and hurt yourself in the process. If you're going to write Fish script to generate completion, at least you can, but you should really write docs instead.
Yes, I'll agree with that. So
Always
one
write
of-
docs.
One of the great things, though, Nate, is it learns from you, obviously, because it's learning the commands that you use most, and it's going to try to recommend the completion for you. So that's probably one of the most useful things that it can do.
It's
All right,
honestly
I've seen Terminator
to make
2.
it-
I don't want my computer learning from me. I don't want it to do. I don't want it to.
It doesn't
understand me
learn
at
like
all.
that.
It's not that kind of learning. No,
Not
it just
machine learning.
It's
I was gonna
very
say,
repetitive.
It almost
yeah.
feels a bit like Google, as in the way it learns and then tells you what you want to see. But it's not based in the cloud.
That's
it's not
the
like
creepy kind of, that's
No,
not
no,
the
no.
right kind of comparison.
That's not helping.
Yeah.
It's
but
more like
the-
the "Do you feel lucky?" thing.
Yeah.
Where's that
yeah,
no?
it's
I
there
don't want
for
it
you.
now.
No, it's not like that. No, it
Adam-
it keeps it
Adam's not
locally
there.
on your machine. It's
AI.
not sending it to the cloud or anything. You're okay.
yeah. It's like the same output
So it's-
type thing.
It's all internal. It doesn't go leaking anything anywhere.
It does
Yeah,
not.
no, it just lives in your home
Okay.
folder.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. Super zipper fish.
But Big Pod, you got your hand up.
Well, I'm gonna with a big problem. What I gotta say, I agree with Thomas.
Why
This
is
was
that a
hard to
problem?
say. This
Thomas
was
is-
really hard to say.
Thomas is a pretty bright guy. So why is it hard to agree?
We're
with
not allowed to agree with Thomas,
His
Bill.
We're
lights
not
are
Yeah, you don't-
really
Really
high.
agree.
Oh, right.
Don't agree
because
with Thomas.
he was
I'm
the guy who
slowly
said
winning.
that.
I'm
Well-
slowly winning. Yes.
While
Nate,
while
what-
fish is great, bash is better. Why? Because the history of scripts and all that, most people used bin sh, which would then most likely path to fish, and fish isn't POSIX compliant, so it makes that a problem. And it took me 1 hour to figure it out because actually was doing something else, and in that, because it was containerized application, fish wasn't in the container, I couldn't get it loaded up correctly, and it just basically took more than an hour to get me to fix it. And I believe there is a video of that somewhere on the internet, or we deleted that. I don't know. I believe
So-
there was, or at least recording of that exists somewhere on DistroTube's computer.
Yeah, fish will mess up some of your shell scripts. You got to be
Fish
careful.
Unless
there.
you put the shebang correctly, so it does work.
You need to put shebang bin bash.
You should be
to work
doing that
correctly.
anyway.
Yeah, you totally should.
Yes,
Like-
but most scripts aren't made that way because
You should.
for most
Oh,
people,
you really should.
a
Like,
shell
one
is
thing
bash.
take away from using a non-POSIX shell, it's that when you write a shell script, you put the shell that it's supposed to be run with
Right.
at the top of the file.
Yeah,
I'm
absolutely.
not saying you're wrong.
Every time.
I'm saying you're absolutely right.
Don't do anything
just-
until you do that. You really should.
It's just normal convention was just put the base shell because everybody uses a POSIX compliant shell.
I guess.
Not
But it-
even the BSDs do that.
Yeah, that was a Linux thing
So-
because it was a Unix thing. I don't know. I hate it.
Right.
Jinda. Oh, go ahead, Nate.
I was just back on the fish thing real quick. I'm sorry, Jinda. So by switching my shell to fish from bash, is there anything I'm losing, any functionality that I'm going to lose by doing so?
You shouldn't.
I mean,
From a
Unless,
user experience
unless
point
you
of view,
have
should be fine.
the exact problems I had, so using it specifically in a specifically containerized application that didn't have inside fish installed, or you use scripts you don't edit and put bin bash. Otherwise, you should be 100% okay.
Well, also you're gonna lose stuff like sudo bang bang. Fish doesn't do that. It
No, because
expects
it
you
remembers.
to be able to
Yeah.
go into the history and like just read.
Yeah, because it'll
write
remember when you
again.
start typing sudo, it'll start filling it out for you, and then you
Exactly.
can select it accordingly.
Exactly.
Expect
So
you
like
to know how
there's
to use
a
an up arrow.
there's a lot of
I've never run
muscle
sudo bang
memory.
bang. It
Okay,
sounds,
good.
Sounds
Good.
very
Then you're
sounds
fine.
very
Yeah, you're
dangerous.
good.
Yeah.
It sounds
No.
really dangerous. I don't
No.
want to.
It's
It's
not.
not too bad, but if you have a lot of
Sudo
bash
bang
muscle
bang.
memory where you're using a lot of things, Leoman actually added it in the chat where you're talking about brackets and like the exclamation point, stuff like that. Some of those things just don't work in fish. So if you don't have a lot of muscle memory from bash, then you really won't lose anything. Everything else works pretty well.
And I would also argue I actually had that muscle memory before, because again, that works in ZSH, it works
Yeah.
in bash. But I adapted pretty quickly to using it the fish way, because the problem with sudo bang bang, or rather sudo double exclamation points really, is that all that does is it'll insert without telling you what it is, what the last line executed
Right.
was,
Yeah.
whether it was good or bad.
Yep.
The nature of how it works with fish is you actually get to see the text before it's executed.
Yep.
Yeah.
And that's considerably more helpful to make sure you're not going to do the wrong thing.
I'll agree. Yes.
Well, really, the one thing that you lose is basically you don't have POSIX compliant shells, so the shell scripts from bash won't work. And
That's
bash
2020. We don't need
bash
POSIX.
scripting, if you used to bash scripting in your
Just
well,
type bash
j-
before you
terminal.
write it out.
Bingo.
Yeah.
There's the answer.
And actually, bash always forks if you try to run a shell script.
Yeah.
It always forks itself to do
It's
that
always
because
in another process.
unless
That's a good thing.
unless you specifically add some syntax to execute it in line, like using the exec command or whatever. But most people don't even know that that even exists. So they'll just do, ./foo.sh, and that'll fork. But if you do exec./foo, it will not fork.
Right.
But nobody knows that, and nobody should ever do that, because bad things happen in some cases when you do that.
All right, I'm gonna go do it real quick.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah. Don't listen to things that Neil tells you to do. Just type it in.
Actually,
Don't do that.
that fact that Neil was talking about, actually, if you take advantage of that, it allows you to make a config file syntax where you run the config file as a bash script.
What are you doing?
It's terrible. It's terrible to do it, but you can.
I
And
know
you
that
can-
will.
it'll
So,
totally
Dark
work.
Story Horror Time. This is the reason why Etsy OS release is written the way it is and why it looks the way it does is explicitly so it can be executed by shells as key value pairs.
Yes.
That is exactly the reason why it is formatted that way, so that you can do sourcing of the file, so you can exec the file, and it will load correctly in all cases, which is absolutely morbidly horrifying that you would want to do that. But there you go.
But it gets pulled in
That-
everywhere, right? I mean, it's all over the place.
Yeah.
Anyway, Jinda, get us back on track.
Back on track.
Oh, well,
Okay.
never mind that then.
There was a track?
There was a
Take
track,
us
yeah.
further off the track, please.
All right. Okay. Further off the track, I'm going to agree with Thomas. Now his head's swollen. Right. Look at that. There it goes. I'm a bash guy. I tried the ZSH, and then now I'm going to have to agree with Neil. By the time I got it to look nice and do all the functions and added all these things to it, or whatever you want to call them, it was a pain. I didn't, and after doing that, I kind of got scared and didn't want to try fish, and I maybe should have, but I didn't know that it looked cool, and there was a nice video I watched, and
Yeah.
I tried it, and I went no.
It's easy to revert. So listen,
Yeah.
here's the thing: you can install it, and if you just want to test it out, just to try it out, just type fish in your bash shell and run it for a little bit. You'll get a feel of it. If you don't like it, exit that session, and you're back to bash. So I mean, so that's kind of the nice thing. If you just want to try
It's
it out,
super
you can.
safe.
Yep, it is.
Nate, when you turn on Fish Cell, it's going to offer you help. But if you type help, it's not opening a web page. Look at where it's going.
I still don't know how to switch the shell over, so I'm it's
just type fish.
Oh, Nate, it integrates
that works
really well
too.
with the Commodore. So
Yeah.
So if you just a warning in case you are going to switch your shell, everywhere I've seen it's placed in /user/bin/fish, not /user/bin/fish. So be careful, because if you change that for the root and it's not there, it explodes on you. So don't do that.
So that is only
user
a
bin fish.
problem. That is only a problem on Debian-ish systems that haven't completed user merge.
Well, that explains a lot.
Yeah. On every other distro family, which has completed user merge, and Debian 10 and above, and Ubuntu 20.04 and above, user merge has been completed. It is by default. This will not be a problem. Binfish will point
perfect.
to user binfish.
Heck
But
yeah.
everything older on the Debian family, this will be a problem. And then Schickel's warning matters. But for everybody else, from Arch to SUSE to Fedora to whatever, you're fine.
Yay.
Do
Okay.
binfish. It works.
Cool.
It'll be good. But you can always type in which fish, and that'll tell you which one.
Yeah,
That's exactly what I was going to say.
So-
Which fish?
So we
Which
have
fish?
the Nautilus,
Mine said salmon.
Nemo, dolphin,
Salmon.
and fish. There is a theme to
There's
tonight's
totally a
show.
theme. There's totally a theme. Donnie, what's your vote?
My vote is gonna go for bash. But actually, for fish, you can actually add fish in your bash RC, so you don't have to type fish every time.
Yep.
If you don't want to switch your default shell,
You can.
and for testing.
Don't do that. If you're gonna do, make yourself a key combination or a shortcut and use that to execute fish. It's a tad bit better than using it in a bash RC.
It might be a little safer.
Why?
If you have to use bash as a default shell, like I have to because of containerized applications that aren't completely okay-ish, and I have to fix them one day when I get access to those repositories.
But what's the problem having it in bash RC?
It's it's not exactly safe.
It's not. Yeah, weird things happen at Bash RC time. I actually don't know what would happen given the order of the way Bash processes those files, that it would do the right thing or possibly just break your environment. So I wouldn't do that.
But so Neil, speaking of that, if you're running Btrfs, could you just roll back and it would solve all those issues?
I mean, if you're putting it in your Bash RC and you haven't put snapshots for your home sub volume, I don't think it matters.
Yeah.
Nate's got Nate has got a good customer there with him.
Yeah.
Hi. Sorry.
Leo, what's your vote?
Bash. If Fish didn't come along, there's a huge soft spot for Bash in my history. All the servers I've ever adminned, everything. I mean, it's just always been Bash, every bit of it. But I have to remember my sanity, and Fish saves me half a second every time I'm trying to do something. It adds a lot of convenience to the stuff that I would normally manually type out and, double tab this, double tab that. It's already there for you. All of that stuff is already there. So for the bit of sanity it saves me, Fish is my vote.
All right.
Leo, serious question. What do your students, what do you recommend that they use?
Oh, Bash. Oh, yeah. I'm not going to tell them to use Fish. No. Here's the deal. Here's the deal with that. That's quite serious. I do not recommend Fish to my students, but those that are inquisitive, those that are always like, hey, I saw you on this laptop using something that didn't look right. It was different, and it had all these options. I'm like, it's Fish. Maybe you could try it, but don't leave Bash for too long. You want to get that muscle memory down, because I mean, it's important. If your world is Bash, learn Bash. But I do have a few that they'll see me using it and they'll ask about it. And one thing I will say about Fish, as a learning tool, it's fantastic because it forces you to see the options that you're presented with in any given command. So even if you're not trying to learn something, you might accidentally glance at another option that you didn't know about before. So it does teach you a lot of stuff, but Bash is king. So yeah, learn Bash. And then if you wade into the Fish waters, okay, cool.
Yep, I'll agree with that.
I don't know. That sounds pretty fishy to me.
I mean, you just got to swim with the fishes.
Yeah.
All right.
Let's see, Colin, you got your hand up.
Yeah, well, see, here's my take on it. I think you'll make more friends if you say you've been fishing all day rather than bashing all day. That's all I've got to say.
That sounds perfect.
Yeah.
All right. So we got 5 for Fish, 4 for Bash. We didn't get any
close.
We didn't get any ZSH votes, which surprises me a little.
I'm surprised. That is
a little.
Where's Daniel Stevenson? Where's he at? Because he would Zish.
Yeah.
Put him down for Zish. I feel bad for Zish not even making the list. That's Daniel's vote. I know.
I'm honestly not surprised because most of the reason people pick ZSH is to get some ergonomic flexibility that they don't get with Bash.
Right.
Because
or they like Mac?
Yeah, Macs. Well, they only recently switched to that. So that's
and if you upgrade, you don't get ZSH by default. So you have to fresh install for it.
I'm literally chatting with Daniel Stevenson in Discord right now, telling me how we should all be voting for ZSH.
Told you.
And
I told you.
also for NeoVim.
Oh, yeah.
No.
And I told him he better come on Zoom, but he hasn't done it yet.
Well, I'm going to throw another vote on for Fish because that's my favorite to use.
I'll do the same.
Got him.
So we're up to 7. 7 on Fish. That's a winner.
Yeah, they're the best kind of emails too.
Yeah, I deal with a lot of those too. All right. Well, that's interesting. I would have expected that to be a little more contentious, but anyway.
Well, I mean, if you take away the customizability, Oh My ZSH, which is the de facto way people customize ZSH, ZSH is strictly speaking a worse shell because it is slower and more baroque than even Bash is.
Yep. Yeah, I was actually kind of surprised when Mac decided to Switch.
They did that because they decided they didn't want to keep patching a 5,
Yeah,
6,
ancient
7-year-old version of Bash.
Bash. Yeah.
Yeah, so like their choices were revert to what the BSDs use, which was a bad plan for it from the very beginning, or pick something else. And so ZSH was their next best choice because ZSH implements like I think 80 or 90% of the compatibility for POSIX shells and corn shells, which is what Bash is made of. Most of what we call Bashisms come from corn shell. That's where they came from. They just put it in all one place because corn and Born shells weren't exactly compatible. Bash put them both together. ZSH implements most of it, so most people won't notice.
Right.
You got to admit, Oh My ZSH is winning the name battle, though.
There's an Oh My Fish as well.
There is an Oh My Fish.
Oh, I didn't know there was an Oh My Fish. Oh, wow.
It's just wholly unnecessary because Fish already does most of what people need right up front. But it exists. There's also an Oh My Bash, but that's not fun.
I'm looking at Oh My Fish. I didn't know that existed. Oh, wow.
Oh, yeah.
All right. So next up, we have terminal apps or emulators. And this should be interesting. So what's everybody's vote here?
Are there any nautically named ones?
I bet there are. Let's see.
Yeah, I don't see any on the current list, but like you want to bring it up, go ahead.
There's one missing on your list, and I'm going to just say it, even though I don't use it all the time. But cool retro term is my favorite terminal because
yeah,
of course
sure
it
it is
is.
because it's awesome. You put it like the amber screen, you can have like the rolling effect and little shimmer, and the noise and like the noise and such, and so it makes you feel like it's 1983 all over again.
Hey, I remember what terminals look like. I have seen a couple.
You can have it like shake, like you get to the horizontal hold.
Some of
isn't
them
quite
did.
right. Yeah, it's great.
The little corner, little
and
messed
the
up.
the glow, like the I forget what it's called, but the not bloom, but the but basically where like you can see like the afterglow after the screen image changes, whatever it is.
Like you
just
turn
things
it
like
off,
that.
and
It's just
your screen's still
yeah,
there
ghost
even
story or
after you
something
turn
like
it
that.
off. Yeah, the phosphorescence glow.
Yes.
Yeah.
So that is the best way to do terminal, I think. Now it doesn't look right on an ultra wide screen, so you have to really use a CRT to make it right.
It also really looks bad on any LCD.
Well, actually, it looks really good on my ultra wide screen, Nate, because it curves in so far back that it like perfectly counters the forward curve of the. It's really weird.
Well, you got the giant.
But you have a
ultra-wide.
curved screen. That's different.
Yeah, mine is insane.
Yeah.
I have a monitor that's curved the other way over here, which is nice.
Yeah.
Over here.
Nice.
See, Computer Kid's got his hand up.
So I swear you guys are trying to summon Daniel Stevenson. First Vim, then Fish versus ZSH, and now terminal emulators, which he's a diehard Kitty fan. But for me, it's console all the way. I love console. I don't see why I would move.
That's a pretty
The
good
end
one.
of story.
I use console as well for something that I think most people don't know. Console supports tabbing and painting those tabs natively.
Yes. I used to love that feature. Before I moved to i3, and then I didn't need it.
i3 is terrible, but for actual terminal panes, not needing TMUX when I'm using a graphical terminal is very handy.
100%. The only issue is that it doesn't work over SSH, so you have to SSH multiple times. Then I still use TMUX.
Well, then
sadly.
TMUX, yeah.
Yeah. Vash, you got your hand raised?
But console.
Double again.
Nice.
Yeah, the drop down QT terminal. I forget the name of it though.
Oh, Yakwake?
That's it.
That's the one.
Yep.
Well, that's a good one.
I use that one too.
That's built on top of console.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. So, Eris,
we're doing a show here, yeah.
Oh.
Go ahead, Eris.
I vote for console.
Tony?
My vote goes to Tilix.
I like your vote. So tell us more about Tilix, Tony.
What's to say about it?
It's pretty great. No, that's a good choice.
It's just I prefer the layout of it.
Yeah, it works really well as a drop down as well. It's very nice. It's my preferred terminal emulator as well. All right, Donnie, do you want to join in?
My vote goes to Terminator.
No.
Which one? The T100 or the T1000?
T1000, right?
1000, yeah.
Sorry, I'm gonna try to get back on task and be a good person here. So
don't start that now.
Does anyone else have a vote for their
I
terminal?
do.
Is it going to be from Elementary?
It is because I really like that one.
Well, hey,
I don't.
But that one doesn't do anything.
Well, it's pretty, okay.
Sure, okay.
You got us
I mean,
there.
that's about as valid as cubicle as Nathan's thing.
What? I mean, Nate having a non-valid idea? Come on.
Console is
No.
very pretty once you turn the right theme on, which is
Yeah.
obviously the green on black.
I'll admit, I use so the reason I go with something like Elementary Terminal is that I do use the terminal fairly frequently, but like not often enough to where I need tiling terminals or drop-down terminals. I mean, I've used them, but my uses are fairly like I always isolate things by window, and so if I'm doing anything in a terminal that's like a separate task, it's another window. That's just like how my brain works.
That's fair.
And I like the way they have that natural copy and paste integration into their terminal. I have a habit of Control Shift V and C, but once I'm in Elementary OS, they focus so much on that sort of like consistency of keys, even in the terminal. So that just kind of became a nicety for me.
Yeah.
Okay, that's fair. That's a very reasonable approach to things. I mean, admittedly, if I wasn't doing so much myself in the terminal because of the work I do, I actually probably would work like you. That's one of the reasons I don't, for most things, I tend to separate them out into separate windows and stuff. But it's either have a bajillion windows or have fewer windows but a bajillion tabs.
Yeah.
And so a bajillion tabs is easier to mentally manage than a bajillion windows. So that's the only reason I prefer having, tabbing and tiling in the terminal emulator itself. And the reason for doing it in the terminal, like with console, as opposed to using Tmux, is so that copy and paste works correctly. Because otherwise that doesn't work.
Right.
Big Pod, what did you have to say?
Oh, you're muted.
Well, I use GNOME Terminal. It's just the one I first started with, and it works. I normally use million windows. That's about it. Each has its own purpose. But I think that list doesn't have one that needs to be there. One that everybody got crazy about when it came to when it became a reality. Windows Terminal.
Oh, right, yeah.
Actually believe there is an effort to make it on Linux.
There is.
There is. That
Yeah.
will be very interesting.
And
Hopefully
I will
we'll get the
install it
GPU
as soon as it will
acceleration.
be in there.
Oh, you think we'll get GPU acceleration with .NET? You're
I have to
funny.
hope. I have to dream.
Yeah, quite probably.
All right, Leo,
If you ask me.
you got your hand up. Let's hear what you got to tell us.
So there's a couple, I guess, but I mean, console, and there's one reason for it. I don't do the tabs. I'm not much for a tiling. I'm kind of like Big Pod, where it's just like you just yeet open a whole nother terminal if you want to do something else, right? That's normally how I'll do it. But console wins because console has blur, and it.
You're on for the pretty.
Give me Qt and console and some blur any day. Doesn't matter because yes, I'm in it for the pretty, and it makes a huge difference. And one thing that the Windows terminal does in Windows is blur, but the DWM team refuses to allow that blur to be persistent if you click off of the window, it goes solid again, and it throws me off, man. I hate it. So, bring it over.
Wait, that's
it's fine,
the
but-
DWM team's fault for doing that? I
Yep,
thought that
they-
was just some. Wow.
No,
that's
it's
horrible.
so I can't remember what the name of the technology that draws the blur, but the DWM team didn't want to allow you can't have like an exclusive lock on it on a single window when it's not in focus. They refused to change that, and that's why.
Okay, that's
yeah.
wow.
So
All right,
then. That made me kind of
That's
sad.
jarring, though. It's
because
so jarring.
It is, and that was the biggest thing where I was like, oh my god, we finally get Linux coolness in a Windows machine, and then I clicked off the window and I was so sad.
And they can't even do it right.
Yeah, that's fantastic.
Yeah, so console because blur all the time.
All right, we got you, Colin.
We got Colin. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't really have a favorite terminal. I don't think, because quite often I distro hop. But I will say one thing. I do like the ones, and I don't know which ones they are, but if I go into the repositories or something like that, some of them have different colors for on the separate lines that highlight things. I quite find that really easy to navigate my way through these things. It just I think it tells you that you're actually typing things correctly as well. So I don't know which terminal does that. I don't know if they all do it or just I've noticed it's just some of them. But I wouldn't know which one. I wouldn't be able to tell you which one it is. But
well,
I don't know if they all do it or not.
Console is probably the most customizable, like every other KDE thing. You can add a bajillion themes. There's all kinds of stuff you can do to the thing. Yeah, I mean, that's probably why people vote it so high here, I think.
Okay.
I just
Anyway.
believe that there's a conspiracy by KDE to infiltrate Biddle, but
well, if they make good
They
stuff,
they
so
don't
we
do
gotta
a
go with
good
it.
job of implementing conspiracies or anything of that nature. So trust me, it's genuinely because people actually like it.
Anarchy.
No, don't even go there. Don't even.
So, I gotta say, I've been playing a little bit with fish. I understand now.
You get it. All right. Hey,
Yes,
that didn't take
yes.
long. Now
Hold up.
did it?
Are you gonna change your vote?
I didn't really vote. I said,
okay. Well, you can cast a vote now.
We got
You
him.
can cast
we
a
got
line.
him.
You
The
can
only
join
thing
the,
that I think is
We
join the
caught
majority.
another fishy. We caught another
He's
fishy.
hard. He's hard.
the only thing
Man,
that I think
all
is a
these
little bit
fish puns, they're too
odd
easy.
about it.
this is like dad joke night.
It is. Where's Michael to know? There is when you
We
go
need to
into like the
summon him.
directories, it abbreviates the directories by the first initial.
Yep.
Yeah,
don't know
you
how I
can
feel about
turn
that
that
right
off.
now.
You can.
I
Turn
said
that
I don't know
off.
how I feel about it. I don't want to change it. I just don't know how I feel about it because it's different.
Ah.
And anytime you change something, I get a little bit,
Little
I
stress.
kind of I vapor
heart
lock.
plunges,
Yeah.
Well-
So like it took me 18 months to or was it 18 months? Maybe not that long to actually get an ultra wide, and had such consternation out of changing the shape of my monitor. I got problems.
It's all right, buddy.
And I didn't want to go curved and ultra wide because there's too many changes at once. So I just got a flat one. That's
Well,
what I had to do.
We're here to help every week.
Yeah.
8 p.m.
Yeah, this is now apparently changes anonymous.
Yeah.
Well, we're here
Something like
unless
that.
Rocco or Dan drops in the middle of the show and
Whoops.
comes on in a new show. Yeah. I mean,
Yeah. Well,
Wait, what
accidents
happened to
happen.
Rocco?
Yeah, no
He's-
Rocco.
yeah,
He's
Rocco's
on-
just he's on Liberty today.
He's on assignment.
Yeah,
Yeah, we've
Going
sent
to see
Rocco on
someone.
assignment.
Well, that's fine.
Anyway,
Golly, I really like it.
just to wrap this up, so console looks like our clear winner on the terminal emulators, so that's cool. All right, it is 10 o'clock, so that means time to wrap it up, and everybody gets the last word. Nate, go right ahead.
Hey, thanks for having me. It was fun. Sorry about my little darting out there. Had interesting things going on.
I darted out too, so it's okay.
Yeah, you had different issues. So
Yeah.
we all get issues. We all have issues. So anyway, I appreciate it. I love to talk nerdy stuff because like my friends, for the most part, if I start talking about like what terminal emulator is the best, they just kind of look at me and kind of their head kind of starts to roll and so forth, and the neck, I'm not sure if it's going to fall off or whatever. But it just, it's nice to be able to talk to somebody and have them, convert me to fish. This is a big deal. This is a big deal. A lot of changes going
You're
on today.
welcome. You're welcome.
Thanks.
Well, you're welcome. And welcome back next week, too. Joshua, last word.
Okay, a few things. One, I'm currently testing out, trying to see if I can plug in fish with lolcat. Two, I already created the Dory repository on GitHub. I did label that as a joke, but if anyone wants to swoop on by, github.com/Dory. And third thing, GitHub already changed their branches from master to main automatically because of they thought that the word master was, so they changed it to the word main. So get used to doing that.
Oh yeah.
Besides that, thanks for holding up the fort, Dan. Good night, everyone.
All right, thanks. Eris, last word.
Thank you very much for the stream, especially Dan this week. And I want to give a shout out to Rocco if he's hearing. Thank you for doing it every week.
All right, thanks. Big Pod.
I'm already downloading the new ISO for me to reinstall. So it's Ubuntu Mate 2010, the beta. So I will be reinstalling my Linux install tomorrow. Yay! Or
excellent.
Really, for me, it's today. So yeah, after the sleep.
All right, good. Tony, last word.
Thanks for doing the show tonight, Dan. It's appreciated that we're all able to carry on, even though you did decide to leave us in the lurch for about 10 minutes.
Yeah, sorry about that.
No, that's okay. You let me down in the respect that I told Rocco that him not being here this week, everything would run smooth, and you just had to prove me wrong, didn't you?
Yeah, we got close. We got closer than we probably ever have, so that's good.
It was normal. It was as if he was here because he still had problems.
Yeah.
But anyway, thoroughly enjoyed it all. Glad to see everybody. Take care all till next week and stay safe. And I look forward to next week's show.
All right. Thanks, Tony. John.
Thanks for hosting, guys. I don't get on here too often, but always glad to. Specifically, Dan and Leo. I somehow missed the Linux User Space podcast. I literally discovered it yesterday. So I've been catching up all those episodes. You guys are doing a great job, and I appreciate it.
Well, thank you. It's been a lot of fun. Vash, last word, and thanks for being here. Been a long time no see.
Yeah, hopefully I'll be back more often, but I mean, it sounds like that Rocco is going to avoid me, so I don't know. But thanks for the stream, Dan. Maybe I'll be back next week, and we'll see if Rocco is on assignment again.
All right, sounds good. Back anytime. Jinda.
Oh, thanks, Dan. Thanks, Rocco. Well, you're not here, but thanks anyway.
Oh, he still did some work. Don't worry.
Oh, okay. Oh, good.
And he's in YouTube chat, so he can hear you.
Oh, okay. I tried out Fish, and it's great. Thank you so much for recommending it.
All right, thanks. Donnie, last word.
I think I'm gonna give Fish another try, and I won't put it in my Bash RC. So,
well, there you go.
Thank you, Dan. And I think this Monday is another episode of Linux User Space. So,
oh yeah,
watch out for that.
This Monday, Linux User
Thank
Space.
you. See you guys next week.
All right, Thomas.
Well, I'm happy many people agreed with me this week. Other than that, thanks for having it this week. Hopefully I'll be here next week. We'll see. And have a good one.
Computer Kid, last word.
So, pro tip, you should already be using console and fish. And since you shouldn't be putting it in your Bash RC, what you can do is go into your console profile settings and just change the little bash to fish. There you go. You're good to go. Good night.
Well,
Seems
thanks
like
for the
what I
pro
did.
tip. Colin, last word.
Well, thanks, Dan and Co. Doesn't quite have the same ring
No,
as
it
Rock
doesn't.
and Co, I must
That's
say.
okay.
But Yeah. Who's been helping Shickle tonight? Is it Shickle and Nathan?
Yeah, Shickle and Nate. Yep. And
Yep.
Bill. Yep.
And Bill, of course. Yep. So thanks, guys, for that. I hope Rocco's taken notes while he's on assignment. You know.
We'll look for the report, right?
And just updating the memo here that I'm sending out. People need to be aware that there's no agreeing with Thomas while we're on Biddle. So I'll get that out there. Everybody have a great week. It was a great night tonight, great chat. So see you all next week.
All right, thanks, Colin. Shickle, last word.
Well, I am pleased to announce that after some time on Windows and a long streak of distro hopping, I'm now steadily back on Linux and enjoying Ubuntu very thoroughly. So thanks for everybody who puts that together and makes the dream come dream true with teamwork. Yeah.
Yep.
That was
Yeah.
that was a mouthful there, Chickle.
Yeah. Teamwork is dreamwork. Yep.
That one.
Gotcha. Leo, last word.
I want to just say, if anybody hears any kind of issues with the episode this time for Linux User Space Show, you check it out.
Blame
It
Joe.
was Rocco's fault. Yeah, blame Joe. Yeah, Joe totally did the editing this time. It was Joe, not me at all. But I do want to introduce. Wait, too bright. This guy. Yeah, Nate knows this guy. It's
he's cute.
Kiko. I had to get him after the OpenSUSE, I don't know, thing. I had to get him. I had to support SUSE.
Also,
man. This
that was a
guy's
good
so
show.
Fantastic. It was a good
He's
one.
not-
And it's a, what's that?
He's not a gecko. He's a chameleon.
He's Geeko though. His name is Geeko. So
I know.
Go the chameleon.
Exactly.
yeah.
Exactly.
That's
It's
it.
terrible
So-
marketing.
No confusion there.
Not at all. I had to rep for sure.
He's
but
cute.
thanks Dan, Bill, Nathan, Shickle, everybody. I appreciate it. Thanks for having me on, and we'll see you guys next time.
All right. Thanks for being here. Neil, last word.
Yeah, so I decided to come by after remembering that this show was going on after spending, 3 days in the OpenSUSE plus LibreOffice virtual conference, and figured, I'll just see how this is going to go. As it was the last time I was here, it's weird and fun. And you guys are keeping it great, even without Rocco here. So Dan, Leo, everyone, fantastic.
Well, thanks, Neil. Come back anytime. Daniel, are you there? And if so, last word.
Hello, can you guys hear me?
Yeah, you're a little loud, maybe, but we got you.
The first time I'm actually on. Thank you all, and I approve of the Geeko that Leo has. Thanks, everyone.
All right, thanks. Good to have you. Come back anytime. Bill, last word.
I'd just like to thank everybody for doing everything. And Dan, thank you. Just remember that Fedora beta is going to go to a real release very soon. The Ubuntu 1910 or 2010 releases are coming, and SUSE needs to make a new music video.
Oh yeah.
Somebody needs to just send an email to suggest what song they should parody.
Dude, those commercials are so fantastic. They are amazing.
Something Katy Perry.
Hey,
That'd be great.
Oh gosh.
Oh
I kissed a
no.
distro.
All right.
Shickle, you sound like you have probably an opinion on one.
Maybe.
Well, I would like to thank everybody for being here and thank everybody for watching. And don't forget to check out Linux User Space this Monday. New episode drops. And big thanks to Leo for doing the edits there. And
it was Joe, not me.
oh, it was an excellent job. I've already listened to it, so don't sell yourself short. And
He got the early access. You must be a patron.
yeah.
We've got double Nates.
Yeah, we do. We got too
Whoa,
many.
why is there more Nates? What'd he do?
He
The
must have
fish shell
dropped out.
broke him.
My fish shell broke him.
I had to knock the other guy off. He was really ticking me off with his nonsense comments. It was just
How dare you, Nate
terrible.
number 2.
Anyway, thanks everybody for the great stream and all the support. Until next time, long
Night, everyone.
live
Thank you.
Linux.
See ya.
Cheers.
Bye.